Okay, guys. At the end of the last session, you found yourselves gazing upon the imposing main fort of the Goblin Camp. Its formidable structure loomed before you, with steel cages dangling ominously from its sides. So what would you like to do?
Well, if we're aiming to rally allies within this camp, perhaps our first step should be to aid the individual trapped in that cage. Granted, we don't know who they are, but considering they've been imprisoned by the goblins, it's a safe bet they're not exactly on friendly terms with them.
That's not a bad idea, honestly. We could definitely use any help we can get at this point. But the real question is, how do we go about freeing them? There are a lot of eyes on that cage, so have you got any ideas on how we can pull this off without drawing too much attention?
Well, if I fancied burning a second level spell, I could use Vortex Warp to pull them out of there. The catch is finding a spot not under watch within 90 feet of the cage for the teleport. I wouldn't mind upcasting for a bit more range, say 120 or 150 feet, if it gives us an edge, after all. Right now, securing a capable ally feels more crucial than conserving spell slots.
But we don't even know if they're capable. Could just be a petty thief that's been imprisoned or something like that.
I don't think so, Raarh. I mean, just look at his bindings. Those metal clasps around his hands aren't your standard go-to for captives. They're far more secure than regular manacles. And then there's the metal gag around his mouth. All that effort to keep him silent and restrained seems pretty extreme for just some petty criminal, doesn't it? To be honest, it suggests to me that whoever's in that cage poses a significant enough threat to warrant those bindings.
All right then, so we're agreed that it's in the best interest for this plan for me to break them out?
You probably wouldn't even need to waste any spell slots, Tronald. Since the level up, I've gained a pretty neat ability. Shadow Step. Basically, I can now teleport anywhere within 60 feet of me as long as it is dim light or darkness. So all I'd need is enough of a distraction that nobody is looking up, and I can break him free myself.
Okay, sweet. So we've got two options. Personally, I'm leaning towards Tronald's idea. That way, none of us need to put ourselves in harm's way. We could just poof them to us. Speaking of Joe, is there anywhere within 90 feet of the cage that seems pretty secluded?
Make a perception check for me, buddy.
Nice. That's a natural 20, Joe.
Amazing.
Nice job, Saxy. All right. With your keen eyes scanning the surroundings, you manage to spot exactly what you're looking for. There seems to be a small structure, a sort of hut or outhouse, tucked away in a less trafficked area outside of the front gate.
Okay, Tronald, so if you're going to do this, do you see that little outhouse over there?
Yeah, I see it.
Well, it seems pretty secluded, so it could be a perfect spot to warp him to. By all accounts, they might not even notice that he's gone for a while. I mean, it's not natural instinct to be looking up all the time.
Are you sure there isn't anywhere a little more hygienic? I mean, that's probably filled with goblin poop, and I don't want to mucky up my fresh clothes.
Oh yeah, Boss Tronald, that there's a real treasure trove of goblin poop. And let me tell you, not just us gobbos make use of it. Even the ogres duck in there when they're after a bit of alone time, if you get what I mean. So, yeah, it's pretty much as ripe as it gets.
See what I mean? So I mean this in the politest way possible. Fuck that.
Oh, come on, Tronald, it's only a bit of goblin shit. Think of the greater good here. A little muck never hurt anyone, especially not us. We've waded through worse, haven't we?
I'm going to have to disagree with you there, Raarh. I absolutely don't think we have. Anyway, do you know how many diseases I would be opening myself up to catch?
No, how many?
Well, more than I'm comfortable with.
Don't worry about it, Tronald. I can heal and freshen you up afterwards. But if you're really worried about it, I can give you this bracelet of mine that will protect you from any form of disease if you want it.
You know what? Fine. Fuck it. I'll traverse through this taint for you guys, but don't ever say Tronald doesn't take one for the team. Hand that over to me then, Lunaria, and I'll go free the cat man.
I passed the bracelet over to Tronald.
Does it need attunement or anything, or are we good to go?
No, it doesn't need attunement.
All right then. Joe, I put the bracelet on, and then I begin to make my way over towards an inside of the hut.
All right, Tronald. As you slide the bracelet onto your wrist, you feel a brief, sizzling sensation akin to a faint electric shock that quickly fades away. It's an unexpected jolt, but you rationalize it as the bracelet's enchantment activating, perhaps its mechanism for nullifying poison and disease at work. With the bracelet now secure, you turn your attention towards the task at hand. Approaching the hut, the reality of Goba's description becomes all too apparent. Piles of filth and refuse are overflowing from within, making it clear that this outhouse has seen extensive use. The door, when you attempt to open it, proves to be stubbornly stuck, resisting your efforts to push it open. It seems that the combination of neglect and the accumulation of Debris has sealed it shut.
All right then. Can I try to pull it instead of pushing it?
Wow. Well, isn't that just a great idea?
Give me an athletics check, Tronald.
Ooh, that's a 19. So 19 minus 3, that's a 16 total.
All right, Tronald, with a change of tactics, you decide to give the door a firm pull instead of pushing. Your strength check, a solid 16, proves more than enough for the task at hand. With a hearty yank, the door flies open, releasing a small wave of dirt that splashes over your boots. The sudden intrusion into the outhouse's dim interior reveals an unexpected occupant, a goblin, caught quite literally with his pants down. He's perched upon the facility, his expression morphing from shock to outrage as he locks eyes with you. "Oi, what do you think you're doing?" The goblin screeches, his voice echoing off the cramped walls. "Can't a goblin have a moment's peace without some nosy prat barging in? This is a private session, you hear? Private. I'll have you know I'm a respected individual in this camp. You've just made a very powerful enemy, you have. Now close that blasted door and let me finish in peace, or I swear by the great Goblin King I'll—" His rant trails off into a mix of grumbling and muttered threats. His dignity as tarnished as the surroundings.
Oh, lovely. I shut the door, Joe, and let him finish.
Okay. You shut the door, respecting the goblin's demand for privacy, albeit under bizarre circumstances. As the door clicks shut, the bracelet on your wrist tingles yet again, this time with a slightly stronger and almost painful sensation. It crosses your mind that the bracelet must be actively working to combat the filth enveloping the area, shielding you from the unsavory conditions of the outhouse. The notion offers a small comfort, despite the growing pain from the bracelet's increased activity. After a seemingly long 5 minutes during which the ambience of the camp continues, then the door suddenly bursts open. The goblin from inside storms out, pulling up his trousers in a huff, his face twisted in annoyance. "See, was that so difficult to just wait your bloody turn? You big lugs always think you can just barge in wherever you like. Well, let me tell you, order and decency mean something in this camp, even if it's not obvious to the likes of you. Next time, knock, or better yet, find a bush. You've completely ruined my concentration. I hope you're happy with yourself." And with that, he stomps off, muttering under his breath about rude intruders and no respect for personal space.
This is disgusting.
Kind of funny, though.
All right, Joe, I want to make my way inside, pulling the door shut behind me and trying to hold my breath as much as I can. Are there any cracks visible in the walls where I can see the individual in the cage?
As you steel yourself and enter the outhouse, pulling the door shut behind you, the stench hits you like a physical force. You try your best to hold your breath, minimizing the assault on your senses. Inside, amidst the dimness and the overpowering smell, you scan the walls for any potential vantage points. Your eyes quickly find 1 or 2 areas where the wood has fractured, creating narrow slits through which the outside world is visible. Positioning yourself for a better view, you take a moment to observe through these makeshift peepholes. After a few seconds of careful scrutiny, your patience pays off. You manage to catch sight of the figure in the cage. The limited viewpoint offers just enough of a glimpse to confirm their presence and approximate location, giving you the visual confirmation needed to proceed with your plan.
Fabulous. All right then, Joe. I'm going to cast Vortex Warp on the individual, teleporting them to me. I'm guessing they will have to make a Constitution saving throw because they're not willing.
Tronald, your focus is sharp as you harness the arcane energies around you. The very fabric of reality within the outhouse begins to twist and churn. Despite the mundane surroundings, the spellcraft at work is anything but as you begin to bend the laws of magic to your will. As you invoke the final syllables of the incantation, a vortex of magical energy emerges within the hanging cage. The air beside you shimmers violently, a portal ripping open the veil between here and there. In a flash of arcane brilliance, the black tabaxi is torn from their cage and thrust through the vortex, reappearing with a suddenness that fills the small space with displaced air and a faint echo of the magic used to bridge the gap between you, the surprise of instantaneous relocation mirrored in their posture.
As soon as the tabaxi lands next to me, I want to reassure him, telling him to shh and that we are allies, we have freed you. Then I want to take off my cloak and wrap it around him, making sure his features are covered. I open the door slowly to make sure there is nobody outside, and if the coast is clear, I'll make my way towards the rest of the group.
Okay, Tronald. With cautious optimism, you gently push the outhouse door open, scanning the area for any observers. The coast appears clear, allowing you to stealthily navigate towards the safety of your group.
Well, that went nice and smoothly, aside from all the poo, that is.
However, the second you arrive next to everyone, a searing pain surges through your arm, emanating from the bracelet. It's an intense, consuming agony that forces you to close your eyes, grappling with the unexpected assault.
Huh? Tronald, are you okay?
What's going on with him?
Did you hurt yourself or something?
As you open them again, the familiar surroundings, the goblin camp, and your companions have vanished. Instead, you find yourself engulfed in darkness, an oppressive void where visibility is almost non-existent. As you struggle to orient yourself in this engulfing blackness, you become acutely aware of something else, an otherworldly presence, arcane bindings, not of any material known to the earthly realms, but wrought from pure magical essence, spiral around you. They weave through your very being, an invasion more intimate and violating than any physical chains could aspire to be. These ethereal bonds penetrate deep, lacing through your essence with a pain that is beyond the realm of imagination, beyond the threshold of endurance. The bindings do more than merely restrain. The flow of magical energy that once coursed through you, a river of potential and power, now feels dammed at its source. It seems that they have severed your connection to the arcane entirely. Your attempts to reach for that familiar wellspring of magic are only met with a void, a stark, unnerving silence.
What the hell's going on?
We'll get back to you in a bit, Tronald, but for now, the rest of you watch as, in the blink of an eye, Tronald's form begins to undergo a harrowing transformation. His physical being seems to rip and tear at the seams. Before your very eyes, Tronald is surrounded by a vortex of arcane energy, his figure contorting in ways that the mind struggles to comprehend. It's as if the fabric of reality itself rebels against him, tearing him away from this plane. And in a final dramatic surge of power, he is warped away from you, leaving behind a void where he once stood. I'm going to have to ask you to leave the table for a little bit, Tronald. I'll invite you back in shortly.
This sucks ass.
What the hell did you do to Tronald, Catman?
He can't respond to you. His mouth is currently covered.
I will punch the shit out of you if you don't answer me!
Hold on, Raarh. Let's not jump to conclusions here. We have no idea what just happened. Before we start throwing punches, we need to get these bindings off this guy. Maybe he knows something about what just went down. I mean, seriously, fuck. What the hell is happening here?
Joe, I get to work on trying to unlock the bindings around the guy's mouth, but only his mouth for now, until he tells us what's going on. I'm not going to release his arms.
Give me a sleight of hand check.
That's a 14.
Alexandrew, your fingers get to work, trying to find a latch or weakness in the device. Despite your focused efforts and the urgency of the moment, the mechanism proves stubborn, resisting your attempts to unlock or remove it.
Fuck this! I rip it off!
Give me a strength check, Raarh.
That's an 18 total, Joe.
Raarh, you decide to take a more direct approach. Grasping the metal mouthpiece with both hands, you pull with all the might your powerful muscles can muster. Despite the device's sturdy design intended to withstand tampering, it's no match for your brute strength. With a determined heave, you manage to tear the mouthpiece away, breaking the resistant mechanism in the process. The device clatters to the ground, its hold on the tabaxi now broken. Freed from the silence imposed upon them, the tabaxi gasps for air, their expression a mixture of shock and profound relief.
So I ask again, what the fuck did you do to my Tronald?
Well, there's no point in me answering this. Mike, why don't you join us at the table and answer for yourself?
Oh, shit.
What the hell are you talking about? I was just minding my own business, stuck in that cage, pretty much resigned to my fate. Then, out of nowhere, I find myself ankle deep in shit with some old dude wrapping me up. I swear, for a second there, I thought I was about to be violated.
Huh? I never thought Tronald gave off, that kind of vibe. What about you, Saxy?
Huh, that's an interesting leap to make. I mean, I know Tronald looks a bit unconventional, but that's a really fucking weird first impression to land on, dude. Really, what the hell's brewing in your mind to even go there? What the hell's wrong with you, man?
You know, it's quite a mixed bag with me, folks. A bit of a cocktail of complexities, you might say. Some parts in the old noggin aren't exactly firing on all cylinders, if you catch my drift. Then there's the physical aspect, and oh boy, let's not even start on the spiritual journey I've been on. It's like a never-ending roller coaster, but without the fun part. But hey, Amidst my deep dive, contemplating the meaning of life inside of a goblin cage, you guys decided to pull me back into the free world. So, thanks for that, really. The names might bite ya.
Not if I bite you first.
What the fuck?
No, he wasn't saying he was planning to bite you, Raarh. That's his name.
Bit of a fucking weird name if you ask me.
You cut me real deep, Raarh. Here I was, marveling at the poetic resonance of your name, thinking to myself, now that's a name that screams sophistication and nuance. And then you go and throw shade at my moniker? Might Bite Ya is a name steeped in tradition and mystery, a name that whispers tales of intrigue and daring escapades in the dark corners of taverns and in the luxury of maidens' quarters.
Oh, well, I didn't mean it was a bad name. Just that it lacks a bit of punch, if you know what I mean.
Next, you'll be telling me you expected something like Bob the Fearsome Furry or Steve the Slightly Aggressive.
Sorry to cut in, but I think we're veering off the main issue here. We need to figure out where the hell Tronald has vanished to. It's obvious something major has gone down, and clearly Might's just as in the dark as we are. So that means someone else has snatched Tronald away from us. Could it be that damn Lady Alara catching up to us? Or maybe one of her lackeys? Perhaps they used a spell, similar to what Tronald just pulled to yank him out from under our noses. Has anyone got any theories on this? Or am I the only one here actually freaking out about our friend being magically kidnapped?
Obviously I'm freaking out, but I don't know what the hell to do. Do I just start cutting every fucker down in this place until I find him, or what?
Well, we need to act fast, because the longer we wait, the further he could get from us. Lunaria, don't you have some kind of spell that can locate something Tronald had on his person? I remember reading about spells like that.
I'm sorry, Saxy, but I don't have access to any spells like that. We could have used Tronald's scrying crystal, but obviously he has that on him. Maybe we should all just split up and look for him. If time is of the essence, we multiply our chances by like 5 of finding something.
Well, that's a shame, Lunaria. But don't worry about it, because I actually do have the spell you're talking about, Saxy. Locate objects. It's pretty handy in a pinch. It can locate any object within 1,000 feet of me, and it lasts for a decent stretch of time. So, how about we take a little stroll around the area and wait until it pings? I could focus on that wand he had on him, or something like that. Then there'd be no need for splitting up and thinning our ranks.
That's amazing, Might. We've just got to be careful that you don't get spotted. I mean, it's highly unlikely that they will notice that you're gone, at least for a little bit, but when they do notice, they're going to start a mad search for you, no doubt. And you, just like us, stand out in this crowd like a sore thumb.
But when it comes to that, I can use some magic to disguise myself. Don't worry about that.
Well, it looks like we have a plan then. Let's go get our wizard back.
Are you sure this is the right call? What if whoever has done it is counting on us following him? What if they're really powerful like this Lady Alara? We would be walking towards our own deaths.
What's that supposed to mean, Lunaria? What, you expect us just to leave him?
No, I'm just saying, are you sure that we should risk—
What the hell's gotten into you, Lunaria? Since when do we start second-guessing ourselves, huh? You think Tronald would be sitting around wringing his hands if you were the one who got snatched? Hell no. He'd be on your trail this very second. No questions asked. Whoever's bold enough to take him has just made one hell of a mistake. They've made an enemy out of me, out of all of us. And when I find them, their power won't mean a damn thing. I don't care if it's this Lady Alara or any of her lackeys for that matter. They're going to wish they never crossed paths with us. I swear I'll rip their fucking head off with my bare hands. We stand together and we get our friend back, no matter what it takes.
100%, man. So, Mike, shall we get going?
Yeah. Joe, I cast Locate Objects with the intention of trying to locate Tronald's wand. In realms near, in shadows cast, I seek the wand through time amassed. Reveal thy light, O object lost. Guide our path, no matter the cost.
What the fuck are you doing, Might? This is no time to be reciting poetry.
Well, that's where you'd be wrong, my big green friend. You see, words, when woven in a certain rhythm and articulation, serve as the conduit for my magic. It's not just about the poetry itself, but how the essence of each word, each phrase, harmonizes with this triangle here. Together, they unlock the arcane, allowing me to cast spells and work wonders. So, in a very real sense, this poetry is my power.
That's awesome.
That's interesting.
That's fucking weird. I don't like it.
You'll learn to love it, boy.
Might, you take a moment to center yourself, gathering the focus needed for the spell. You retrieve your small triangle, its metal gleaming in the light, ready to blend poetry and music into the weave of your magic. With a firm strike, the triangle emits a clear, resonant note, setting the stage for your incantation. Your voice melds with the sound, reciting verses steeped in magical intent. As the final note vibrates into silence, the spell takes effect, sending a magical pulse westward. Almost instantaneously, you sense a ping, a sure sign that Tronald's wand lies in that direction, stationary and awaiting discovery.
It be westward. That's where the spell's pointing us. Tronald's wand, and likely the man himself, is waiting for us in that direction.
Nice work, man. All right, so we start heading in that direction, Joe. Will you be able to tell if it starts moving?
Yeah, man. Easy peasy.
All right, as all of you begin to make your way westward, the atmosphere around you subtly begins to change. The bustling, chaotic energy of the goblin camp that you've grown accustomed to starts to fade, giving way to an environment that feels eerily quiet and isolated. The further you travel, the more pronounced the silence becomes. All right, so I'm going to need all of you to leave the table. Oh, and when you're out there, tell Tronald to come back in.
You can go back in now, buddy.
What's happening?
God knows. Even if we know, I don't think we can tell you, man, but I'm sure you'll find out yourself soon enough.
Well, I just better not be dead/dying. You called, Joe?
Welcome back, buddy. All right, then. Tronald, as you look around, finding yourself chained and utterly immobilized, you can't shake the profound sense of helplessness that envelops you. The ability to move freely or summon your arcane powers has been stripped away, leaving you vulnerable and exposed. But it's at this moment a voice, sinister yet carrying an eerily welcoming tone, cuts through the stifling darkness that surrounds you.
Ah, welcome, my dear. My sincerest apologies for the snugness of these chains. You see, they're a bit of a necessity. Without them, I'd wager you'd be halfway to the hills by now, wouldn't you? But alas, such fantasies of escape will remain fantasies. Here, fleeing is as futile as casting spells into the void. You're in my domain now, Lord Tanavir. Do make yourself at home, for this is where you'll be residing for the foreseeable future. Cozy up to the idea, why don't you? After all, comfort is a state of mind, and I assure you your mind will have plenty of time to adjust to its new confines. This is your sanctuary, your prison, your kingdom to rule over, albeit a kingdom of dust and echoes. And don't fret, my dear, you won't be lonely. I'll be keeping a close, ever-watchful eye on you. After all, what kind of host would I be if I didn't entertain my guest?
Who are you? What do you want with me? How do you know about Lord Tanavir, and how did I get here?
Oh, aren't you just brimming with questions, my dear? But please, let's not rush through this delightful conversation. After all, if we're to be companions in this dance of ours, it's only proper we acquaint ourselves thoroughly. Wouldn't you agree? So, who am I? A fan, perhaps? No, that's not quite right. An admirer, yes, that feels more fitting. You, my dear Lord Tanavir, are a unique specimen in the annals of history, achieving what many deemed impossible. Cheating death itself in the most spectacular fashion. And what do I want with you? It's simple, really. I yearn to learn, to understand the secrets that you've unraveled, the mysteries you've mastered. And should you be reluctant to share your discoveries willingly, fear not. I have ways of encouraging you to open up. Extraction, you might call it, of the most intimate and revealing kind. So, let's be friends, shall we?
And I think that's where
Wait a second, Joe. That voice is amazing. Even though I probably shouldn't like it, I do. Can you do the outro in her voice?
Sure, I guess.
Oh, my dears, if you found yourselves entertained, do make sure to whisper your affections. And should your heart yearn to offer more than mere applause, consider joining our YouTube channel members, or perhaps our Patreon, where you will get early access. Now, if you'll excuse me, a new toy has come into my possession, and I simply cannot wait to explore all the fun we're going to have.
Ha! Awesome.